Hey there, Chadi Bazzi here, and welcome to another episode of the Top Listing Agent Show. Today we have an exciting guest for you, and we're just going to say Molly sold it. What a hashtag! Hashtag Molly sold it. And just had a brief conversation with Molly. And, Molly's only been in the business for just a few years full time, going on her fourth year in real estate. And she is doing amazing. So, specifically for the newer agents who've been in the business for a couple of years and definitely want to grow their business, and everyone else, it doesn't matter if you're new or not, but specifically for the new people, I definitely want you to pay attention because she's making some big moves, and I am going to be extracting a lot of nuggets from her to pass on to you so you too can make even bigger moves and move your business to the next level. With that said, Molly, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here with you today.
Awesome. So Molly, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I'm sure you can do a better introduction than I can because nobody knows you better than you do. And walk us a little bit through your journey. Like, what you do before real estate, why you got involved in real estate, what was the first year, second year, third year, all the way up to your fourth year been like?
So I'm Molly Slagle. I'm with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Worldwide Realtors out of Houston, Texas. I'm right here in downtown Houston area, and I sell all that is the Houston metropolitan area, which is huge. As you said, I am about 4 years into the business. I'm 2 years full-time, starting my third year full-time. And prior to being in real estate, I spent 16 years in the public school sector working as a psychoeducational diagnostician, so special services support at working in school psychology stuff with kids with disabilities. And I decided to get my real estate license because it was a little bit out of spite, but I really wanted to have my kitchen renovated. And I could see that it was a good way to make some money. And I thought, well, I had worked at a title company in college. In Texas, we close everything with a title attorney in an office. And I'd done some filing for him. And I always watched the agents walk in, and I thought, I'd be really good at that job, but I was scared to go commission only. And I thought I had I was going to save the world. So little did I know it would be through real estate. Anyway, so yeah, I got my license, and I really started right off the bat with some great deals just by my network. I've grown my business using my network, using social media, and just loving on my sphere. And there's not a day that I don't wake up and love my job. I really love it. And I know we have tough days. I'm not being a Pollyanna, but I would rather do this than anything else. So it works out great for me.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the real estate world. And I love what you said. You said, I'm like loving on my network, loving on my sphere. And that's been one of your superpowers into really doing the kind of business that you're doing. And I believe right now we're recording mid-year, and you're already at 14 million in volume, which is just a little bit over 50 transactions, which is a phenomenal number. I mean, for some agents, it takes them, 10 years to get to this level of production, and you're already there. So obviously you've done some things right. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about today is, what are some of the specifics that you did to get your business up and running? Because Molly, I cannot tell you, okay, how many people in real estate neglect their database. They neglect their center of influence. Like everybody's just chasing, the new deal and the next shiny object, etc. When they're sitting on the acres of diamonds. There are leads in their database, people that they know that may never buy or sell real estate, but know someone that will buy or sell real estate. Can you walk us through how you began that, what database you use, and how do you work it, etc.?
I'd be happy to. I guess my main point, I hope if anybody takes anything from this, is your sphere are the people who already believe in you. They're already the people who've bought into you. They're your friends, your acquaintances, the people who see you every day hustling at the gym or at your kids' school volunteering or whatever it may be. These are the people that already know you. So don't feel like you're salesing at them. You're not salesing at anyone. You're just being yourself, and they've already bought into you, and you're sharing a value that you have, an expertise that you've worked on, that you've honed. And so having that thought behind me gave me a lot of confidence, because I knew they already knew me, and they knew my work ethic, and they knew, you know, my values and morals. So that you know, taking that approach takes the feeling of like of the cold call out, because you're not cold calling, you're calling a friend. They already know you. So I have a funny story though, the way I started my business, and I like to call it the 2 glass of wine story, because it was 2 glasses of wine, but I drank 2 glasses of wine, and I got on Facebook Messenger with a little bravery, and I reached out to anybody who had ever, the 2 glass of wine is a funny part. I'd have done it anyway, but anybody who had ever reached out to me for, if they had started some kind of home business, you know, like they were selling leggings or a shake, or they, you know, had hosted something at their home, some kind of progressive dinner, whatever it may have been, or if I'd bought candles from their kids' fundraisers or any of that kind of thing, and they're in my sphere, and I knew that, you know, they already knew me, I just composed this little Facebook message that said, hey guys, I've taken this, you know, what's the quickest distance from one place to another? Well, it's a giant leap of faith, and I've taken one. I've started a real estate business. I'm here for all of your buying, selling, leasing needs. If you know of anybody who's looking to buy or sell real estate, all I'm asking is that you mention my name. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to do anything more than just let my name be the name that leaves your lips. And I have, you know, been so happy and proud to support your ventures. I'd love it if you could reciprocate and do the same for me, just by mentioning my name. And so I sent out, I don't know how many, it wasn't very many of those, I mean, maybe 30, 60, somewhere in there. And from that, I got my very 2 first leads. So that represented about $600,000 in my market. And I just pounded the pavement with those 2. And that's really what got me rolling, was reaching out to my sphere. It did take a little bit of some liquid bravery, but I was able to do it. And really that just sort of propelled me, and it helped me also to understand the power, 1, of my network, and 2, of social media. So that was my first thing that I did. And my advice is, the takeaway from that is, your people know you, just ask for the business. You cannot be bashful in this business, you got to ask for it.
And if you can't get yourself to do it, then have 2 glasses of wine, and that will do the trick, right?
And red is always good. Red is always good.
And if you're a lightweight, just take a sip, and you're good to go. 1 sip.
That's right.
Here's the thing. The thing is, you know, the universe rewards those who take action completely different than those who do not take action. You know, bravery, liquid bravery or not, it doesn't matter. What you did is you said, hey, I'm a giver. I'm a person of contribution. I help these people out. You know, they don't even know that I'm in real estate. So even if they wanted to reciprocate, how would they know how they can reciprocate if I don't put myself out there and let them know who I am, what I'm committed to, and how I could best serve them and their family members? So action is the missing ingredient for most people, Molly. And I want to talk about that for a second. Like, do you ever find yourself in a place of like, I got this thing that I need to do to grow my business or serve more people or whatever, and you're crippled either in fear or laziness or whatever? And how do you get yourself through it? I want to talk to that person for a couple of minutes.
Sure. Okay, so I have this tremendous FOMO, fear of missing out. I have worked really hard to align myself with some great agents in the area. And when I say great, I don't mean necessarily high producers. I mean people who have found things that are their specialty and they're really good at it, be it that they're loving on their sphere, which is what I do well, or they like kill it at Instagram, or they are really amazing marketers in terms of what they put together for print and for video, and or they're just really uplifting people who have this very positive vibe. So I've aligned myself with these folks and I've watched them do amazing things. And then I think to myself, well, I really want to do that. And if I get fearful and I've learned a couple of times, like early in my career, I wanted to hire a professional videographer and photographer to do some like follow me through the day and take some pictures. but it felt scary to spend the money because, as I told you, I worked in public school for a long time, and I'm sure if you're familiar, they don't make a lot of money. So it was an investment I was going to have to make in my business, and I got scared and I didn't do it. And then I saw some of these folks that I mentioned really take the chance to jump out and do it. And I went, well, now I feel like I was missing out, you know? So then I just decided to do it. So I think that fear of missing out drives me from my place of static or rooted to the spot. And then the other thing is, I just think about, I have had clients come to me and say, I've had really terrible experiences with real estate agents, Molly. They just came in and they, you know, put a sign in the yard and walked away, and and I never heard from them again. They collected their check and I didn't even see them at the closing table. And this is prior to COVID, when we always went to closing tables. And it made me, that perception of our industry hurts me, because I think we are huge value bringers to what we do. We help people with their largest purchase and sale financially most of the time. And I work really hard to change this like reputation that we have. And so if I'm going to sit back and not put myself out there, that means one more of my sphere, or one more of somebody that I could be referred to, is going to have this really crummy experience and have this ongoing, opinion of real estate agents, which is not true for the majority of us who do the majority of the work. Those of us who do the majority of the work do not operate in that way. And I carry the burden, and it drives me, of trying to change that perception of our industry.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because real estate. I mean, I hear that all the time. What do you guys do? Like, you guys don't do nothing. Put a sign in the yard. It goes automatically in the MLS, and then you want to collect the paycheck. And what's sad is there's a lot of people in this industry that I would say, politely and respectfully, should not be in this industry, because they make the rest of us that really value what we do look like we do absolutely nothing. Now, you mentioned the word, FOMO, fear of missing out. And I want to go back to a moment, because I want to unpack that for our audience. And, I just want to say, if you're ever stuck, thinking about, should I know I got to do this and I am not doing this, chances are there's a neuro association. There's a story that you're telling yourself in your head that is not really supporting you taking the actions that you must make in order for you to level up and go to the next level. So one of the conversations I want you to switch it to is not just the conversation of, if I do, I get. I want you to also, exercise the opposite of that. If I don't, what is the consequence? See, what people don't understand, psychologically speaking, is that we are either doing something to gain a pleasurable experience, and or doing something to escape a painful scenario that might happen in the future. And people don't really understand what their psychology is and how they operate. That's why it's sad for the person who's got a picture of a Ferrari on their computer and their wall and their dream board, and saying, I want this so badly and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it, yet they do absolutely nothing. It's because that person is not a pleasure-driven person. That person may be a, moving away from pain person, and just the thought of not being able to fulfill upon their potential might be exactly what it takes for them to go to the next level. So ask yourself the question, what if I do? What is the reward? And then flip it. What if I don't? What is the consequence? And I guarantee you'll start to move a lot.
And may I also add that something I learned, because being in a psychology background, 100% agree with you. And the other thing that I've really come to focus on is inaction is also a choice. That is a decision. You're making a decision to not take action. And, I don't consider myself an inactive person. I like to always be pursuing better, working towards the future, making these kinds of moves. And so when I choose to not, if I am rooted to the spot, I am literally making a choice to do nothing. And that's an unacceptable choice for me. And I think when it's framed that way, we have to change our lens and look at how we're looking at ourselves. And when it's framed that way, well, all of a sudden you don't want to be not a go-getter. You want to be somebody who makes an actual decision, not a decision to do nothing.
Yeah. So, I'm glad that you got a psychology background as well, so we can get a little bit more psychological here.
Yeah.
Let's just do a little bit of that. So let's speak a little bit more to that person, because I kid you not, like I've been on over 30,000 one-on-one coaching calls in my career, and I see people that are just like, crippled in fear, and they're good people and they mean well and they deserve more. It's okay.
Sorry, I have a dog that lives here.
That's fine. The dog that's confirmation. They're confirming that what we are talking about is a valid thing. Um, so how do we get that person to make better choices? Because everything is a choice. What time you wake up is a choice. What you do when you wake up is a choice. How you go to bed is a choice. Who you talk to is a choice. What you wear, you're constantly making decisions, and most people are making decisions by default without even exercising thought of what that action is going to equate to or not equate to. How do people make better choices and better decisions, Molly?
So in my opinion, and it's different for everybody, but I know that what we track and measure actually move. Those things that we pay the most attention to. If you, for example, if you think about a red car, you will see red cars more frequently. And so my driving force is actually a journal, and I keep it right here. I write down everything every day. I wake up in the morning, I write down the three most important things I need to accomplish that day. And there are more than three, but the three most important go in my book. And, if I can accomplish those three things, then that gives me the power and the motivation to move forward to do other things. Another suggestion that I have that has worked for me for years, even since undergrad and graduate school, if I don't want to do something, I will set a timer for 5 minutes and make myself work on it for 5 minutes, because once I've gotten that momentum behind me of the 5 minutes, most likely I'm going to sit there and finish the task, or perhaps get a solid start halfway through that task, those kinds of things. So if I find myself lamenting, typically my timer and just a force of 5 minutes helps me to get over it. But I think, just as you said earlier, actually, to borrow your and piggyback on it, action creates action. So as long as I'm not just avoiding it altogether, if I'm making some kind of forward motion, being I've written it in my book, I've put it as a reminder in my phone, I've started on it for 5 minutes, those kinds of things help me, especially with the tasks that feel the most daunting. And then I challenge myself to not write down the more simple 3 tasks of the day, but put down the 3 that I really need to just get in there and tackle and solve. And those are the ones that I work to use, to overcome. And there's another book that I love to use for a long time that kind of started this regular journal, but it's the 5 minute morning. There's 5 minute success in the morning, and you can Amazon look that one up. But that's
the
something.
Miracle Morning.
Say it again.
Miracle Morning.
Yes, the Miracle Morning. That book is what, like, my first year of real estate, I think I went through 2 of them. I just every morning, and that one includes a gratitude. At the end of the day, you include your gratitudes, which I also think is something we should absolutely verbalize, speak it into being. For a negative energy, people feel it. So yeah, I think writing it down, track and measure, and by all means, just get started on something, like start a timer.
I love the timer idea, because, Molly, I think the hardest step is usually the first step. And, 9 out of 10 times when you take the first step, you move on to step number 2, but if you don't take the first step, you ain't moving anywhere. So I'm going to challenge every single person to take on that exercise from now on. Whatever it is that you're resisting, resisting, that's another big word, because what I really want you to understand is that your breakthrough, your abundance, your victories are all on the other side of resistance. Your biggest breakthrough is hidden inside of the things that you resist the most. So this 5 minute timer idea is an excellent idea, because here's the thing: go through the first 5 minutes, and if 5 minutes into it, you ain't feeling it and don't want to do it, stop. That's perfectly fine, because you're building a new psychology, for yourself, as being an action taker, as being the kind of person that honors their commitment and takes the steps. Now, another thing that you mentioned, which is very critically important, I'm sure all our audience have heard the name Mary Kay. Mary Kay, is that Mary Kay? Mary Kay, the makeup lady?
Oh, the makeup lady. Yeah, Mary Kay Cosmetics, right from right here in Texas.
Exactly. So, I mean, that is, one of the, very most successful people in her time and age, etc. And, she said the key to her success was the night before writing down the 3 most important things she needed to get done the next day. And she would wake up every single day and just tackle those 3. So knowing what you got to do in advance will remove the illusion, the delusion of like, I don't know what to do, which is all made up in your mind. Well, this has been great. I want to go back. I want to circle back to you loving on your network. Okay. Is there a specific framework or a specific system that you use to keep in touch with your past clients and or your centers of influence combined?
Yes. So I'm going to be really transparent with you here. I promised to be when I agreed to come, but I signed up for Follow Up Boss about a year ago. I think I've just now started to get good at using it. But that is one thing that I do use. I'm trying to really use a CRM and focus on something that if I'm away, my assistant can continue to use and help me reach out. But what I grew my business on, honestly, was my contact list on my cell phone. And I wish I could show you, but every time I put a new contact in the notes section, or a contact I've known forever, but in my notes section of every contact on my phone, there is a date, the last time we talked, and what we talked about. And I save it so that it's an ongoing list, so that when I reach out to that person again, it's not a, hey, how are you? It's a, hey, last time we talked, I remembered you said your mom was moving to Portland and you guys were, whatever it might be, but I have something to refer back to that is personal to them. And it may seem impersonal that I have to write it down, but they matter to me enough that I'm writing it down, because I can't remember. I know myself, I won't remember these details, but I want them to know they mean that much to me, that I took a moment to note it in my phone so that when I reach out to them again, it's right there on my phone. And I have found that to be invaluable. Now, in terms of that, the failure in that is that there's not a way for my contact system to remind me to reach out to this person. So that's where the follow-up boss piece kind of came in. And then Follow-Up Boss says, reach out to so-and-so. The first thing I do is go to my contacts, look at my notes. What did we talk about last? That kind of thing. So that's a tip I can give that's free. If you're not prepared to invest in CRM, invest in your list on your phone. Use your contacts as wisely as you can. And maybe just start scrolling, maybe do a printout of your contacts and highlight them every time you talk to them, but keep notes so that people feel the value that you find in them, because that's something that's really important, that personal connection.
How often do you speak to the people in your database?
Every day. Every day I do. And every time I walk in a room, you guys are going to laugh at me, but I kid you not. If I walk into a room and there's people there, I'm like, hey, everybody who's looking to buy or sell some real estate today. Like, it's just a joke, but it also, it's a reach. It's just what I do. And they'll laugh. They'll be like, oh, Molly. But if I forget to say it, they're like, nobody, you don't want to say, like, what's up? You okay? Are you feeling all right? You didn't ask if we want to buy or sell some real estate today.
I love it. So Molly, you're talking to people in your database every single day. So what about, like, do you mail the people in your database? Do you send out an email? How often do you email, et cetera? Can you give us some ideas of how you do that? Because, you're getting a lot of business from it. So you're obviously doing something right. Yeah.
Okay. So look, as we're talking, I literally just opened up my desk drawer and I pulled out my note cards. Just yesterday, I sent out thank you cards. I had a birthday on Sunday and I received some nice gifts. All the thank you cards went out. I do these for anything and everything I see on social media related to somebody. If you had a kid graduate from high school, if you celebrated an anniversary, if you were feeling down in the dumps and you had to go to the doctor, I send out cards for everything. I keep them right here on my desk, and rolls of stamps. So I handwrite a lot of cards. I have a geographic farm that I have set up. I pay a company that mails out some valuable postcards over time. I then once a month drop market analysis, CMAs on front doors, that kind of thing. I follow Remind. Those are some, things we could talk about another time that I do to really work that farm. But I send text messages daily to people. I feel like sending a text message first is an easy reach out. So I'll send a text message. I know, so I have been in coaching for many years. I did it. The first thing I reached out ever in my business was I hired a coach, and that coach said that a phone call counted only. That was the only thing that counted. At a few more years into this, I believe in the world we live in now, a text message counts as a contact.
Facebook message counts. An Instagram message counts.
Anything.
Any message counts.
Anything. I think an email is a little less personal unless it's literally me sitting down. Like, I don't count my follow-up boss emails as a touch point. I send them, but I don't count that as one of my monthly touches. I send a personal email. Hey, was thinking of you the other day. I go back to those contact notes on my phone. Was thinking of you the other day. Just wanted to ask, like, how did that go? Or is there anything that you need me to support that with? Are you looking to sell an ad for your kids' baseball team? I know I did one last year. It's about that time. Rather than having to ask me, I ask them. But those are all the things I again go back to the notes and the contacts. That gives you all of the meat that you need for your conversation so that it's not a sales conversation. And then I let my social media be what sells me about real estate. So it's mostly personal, then the real estate, and then I keep myself current in their minds with these things that we're talking about now, the note cards, the text messages, phone calls, emails, and that's what's working for me. And I get people, it's so funny. I have a daughter, she's almost 15, she'll be 15 in September. And a friend from when she was in second grade sent me a Facebook message just yesterday that said, I just wanted to let you know, I've given your name out a few times for real estate because I've got friends who are looking to sell. And I just told them you're the trustworthiest, you're the one for the job. I have not spoken to her in years, personally, but I have sent her text messages. I have included her on mailers. I've sent, congratulations, your daughter graduated 5th grade. Congratulations, she graduated 8th grade, that kind of thing. But that was the system that worked. So I just encourage, make yourself write 5 cards a week. That's a card a day. Order them from Amazon and just, support the U.S. Postal Service.
I love it. Excellent ideas there, Molly. And now would you just shift gear for a couple of minutes onto social media? How active are you on social media?
Incredibly active. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm Molly Sold It. On Facebook, I'm Molly Sold It, and I am very active. I've challenged myself this year personally to incorporate more professional video. I've worked really hard to stay consistent following a social media calendar and bringing value. I've received a lot of compliments this year on the game that I've stepped up, and I've done that. Again, it was FOMO that drove that. I was watching other agents who were just killing it at social media, and I was doing great. I mean, I've built a business on social media, but I knew it could be better. I knew I could craft it to look more professional. And so that was a focus of this year. And I think it reflects that now. You can see the shift even as you scroll my page. But I am working very hard to put in calls to action frequently into my marketing. We can become social media stars in what we do, because what we do is interesting. I mean, $1 Million Listing, hello, these shows make tons of money, but I'm not an Instagram star. I'm a real estate agent. At the end of the day, my job is to buy and sell real estate for the best price possible for my client. And so I feel like my social media reflects that. I am not an Instagram model. I don't pretend to be. I am a realtor. And so that is what my Instagram looks like. And I try to keep that focused as I'm growing my sphere there. That I am the girl to help you sell your house, not necessarily the one who is in the most fashionable clothing online or any of that kind of thing. Like, that's not what I'm here to do. There are people who do that and they're great at it. It's just, that's not my niche market.
I love it. So basically what I'm hearing you say is that the majority of your business comes to you from 3 different pillars. Pillar number 1, no order of importance, is obviously, your network, your past clients that has influenced your database. Okay. Pillar number 2 is farming, and pillar number 3 is your social media marketing. Is that correct?
Yep. And then the 4th one is I've been working my expireds really hard. So my table has 4 legs now. and the expireds are really, really working for me too. It's a lot of work, but.
You know why I'm clapping? Because that's like my favorite thing to do is for sale by owners and expireds. I'm working with a woman right now, and she's on track to take 100 listings this year from for sale by owners and expireds. And everybody's saying there's no expireds and there's no for sale by owners. Nah, you're just not looking and you're just not doing. There are for sale by owners and there are expireds. Molly, you're gonna love working expireds. It's going to be awesome. All right, so 4 pillars. And you know, the reason I wanted to bring that up is because there's something that a lot of people don't really understand in this business. I get that you want a niche and you'll have your niche, which is important for people to really know their niche and know their audience and serve that audience as their primary way of generating business. But one of the things that you got to really think about is diversification, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like there's people always complaining about, you know, market is shifting this way or market shifting. The market is always going to do what the market is going to do. But if you diversify your business, and let's say you have 4, 5, 6 different, you know, pillars of lead generation, if one of them becomes out of order because of a market shift, then you're still not really affected because you got, you know, the other 5, you know, and they fluctuate differently. Like during the COVID, you know, pandemic thing, those that really had a good relationship with their database, although their database may not have been giving them a lot of business way back then, all of a sudden, you know, that's where the majority of their business came from. Hey, market shifted, there's no more expireds, it went down, it's okay, database made up for it. And now maybe the people in your database might not need you as much as they do, but there's gonna be way more expireds. And having those pillars is what will market-proof your business.
I feel like that's actually what helped me survive COVID. I mean, the very first couple of months was that I really had honed my sphere already. So then when people were panicking, and I'd established myself as a real estate expert and as their advisor, and so when everyone started panicking, then they reached out to me, and I, you know, was just soaking in all the information, you know, the places that if you're a responsible agent to your job, you are every day seeking new nuggets of information about your business and where it's going and why and what are the trends. And there's so many sources online. It's silly to not make yourself the expert. And when you feel rooted to the spot, maybe take some time to just educate yourself a little bit more, and that'll drive you to action. But anyway, those people reached out to me because I was there. I was trying to learn and be the expert and calm them or encourage them or whatever I could do in that situation. And that really did, you know, I feel like last year was my best year of business ever. This year is just blowing last year out of the water. And I think it's because of that commitment to the people that already knew me. I've never bought a lead. I've never paid for a lead ever. I've never done that. I mean, unless you count, I've done a couple of reloads and they take so much of your commission, you just gotta count it as payment. But I never have. I just have always worked to help my sphere see me. And yeah, that's driven my business through the hard times.
So Molly, now we get to the final question. And the final question is there a question that I should have asked you today that I did not ask you that I need to ask you?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I do have one. So you didn't ask me how I grow my sphere.
Yeah, how do you grow it? That's the last one. I was saving that till the end. So go ahead. How did you grow your sphere?
I love to be involved in things. So I work really hard to keep myself either volunteering and I know it's hard. We have busy jobs, guys, I get it. But I volunteer. I am a member of a gym. There's a dog group in my neighborhood and I'm part of it. There's, you know, I try to make time for a book club and all of this. And I have learned to align the things that I love and the time that I need as personal time with things that can also put me in contact with people, not to sell to them. It's never my job to sell to them. It's my job just to be there and be part of them and let them know who I am. And then they'll reach out to me when they see the value. But growing my sphere is being involved in things in my community on a regular basis. And if there aren't things that my community's doing now that I'm established, then I'm doing them. You know, if we need an end of the school year snow cone truck, I'll do that. no problem. I'll make that happen. I'll make that event happen. If there's a, like, for example, my most successful event every year is at the holiday season. I do a hayride through my downtown Houston neighborhood, load everyone up in the trucks, and off we go with hot cocoa and chocolate Santas, and we're going to look at Christmas lights. And so I've learned to build my sphere doing events and involving myself. And then if I see a need for something, be the person who does that thing, fill the need, because then one, you're growing your sphere, and two, people are like, oh, you're that realtor, you do the hayride every year. We've been to that since my daughter was 2, you know, and they don't remember my name necessarily, but they know exactly who I am when we start talking. And that's a win for me all day. I'm making my community a more fun place to be, a more involved place to be. I'm meeting people. And let me tell you one other thing. I'm really actually an introvert. I really am. I have to
right.
I got to gut it up to do these things, but you can do it.
You know, if an introvert can do it, imagine what you can do. And I love what Molly said about, like, hey, you know, if it ain't happening in my community, and it should be happening in my community, then I'm going to take the lead and make it happen in my community, which really says, which says a lot about how much you really care and love your community. And that in itself is what is going to get people to refer you more business. Molly, this has been great. This has been awesome. And I know there's somebody out there that's watching this video and or listening to this podcast, and they're saying to themselves, I want to be connected with this introvert. I want to be connected with this amazing person. And how can people get a hold of you, refer you business to Houston, etc.?
Well, they can reach me anytime at Molly Sold It on Instagram. I am all over those DMs every day. So follow me and hit me on a DM if you need me. The other is you can reach out to my personal cell. I do have an assistant and a couple of people that work with me, but my personal cell phone number is 713-471-0527. You can email me at molly@mollysoldit.com. I do reply to emails. I have been blessed to have the opportunity to chat on a few of these podcasts, and people from all over the country have reached out, and I really do reply back. As I said, I think a rising tide raises all ships, and when I can share a nugget of information, nothing would make me happier than for somebody to actually implement it. So if you have a question about something I've said, reach out, email me, text me, call me, follow me on Insta, on Facebook, and I will absolutely reply and do everything I can to help you. I mean, we get there together for sure.
I love it. Molly, thank you very much. And I want every single person that's watching, if you're watching this right below the video, I want you to just say, at least leave a comment, say, thank you, Molly. If you're listening to this somewhere, just go to tlashow.com or chadibazzi.tv and thank Molly for taking the time out of her day to share with you what could really transform your business when you apply the principles that we shared with you today. Molly, I will include all links at chadibazzi.tv as well too. Go ahead.
Okay, we got to smile. This is social, friends. All right, thanks.
Love it, love it. Make sure you tag me in that one.
I absolutely will. I'm happy to. That's what it's about, friends, just like that. And it doesn't have to be the best quality photo. Just get it online. Done is better than perfect.
Awesome. Well, Molly, thank you very much. And I look forward to continue this conversation with you in the near future and hear how you're crossing the 100+ transaction mark.
Hey, let's do it. Thanks so much. I enjoyed the time.
Thank you.